In the game you're about to see on move number 3, I broke an opening principle that even beginners know they should not do. I'm going to talk about why I broke that principle, and we're going to see how the game turned out. Was it a good decision? Was it a bad decision? And hopefully you can learn something from this. Okay, so this is round number 5 of the Southern Open, the tournament that I was playing in recently in Florida. Please go back and watch the previous games if you would like to kind of see where we're at. But I only have 1 point out of 4 going into this fifth and final round. So it's not been a great tournament. There was lots of drama in some of the other rounds. And so here we go. I played e4. They played e5. I played the move d4. Now, usually, this is called a center game. A lot of times when you play d4, you might be following that up with what's called the Danish gambit, where you just sacrifice a bunch of pawns and try to develop your pieces quickly. But I actually recaptured this with my queen. Now, this is move 3. And the principle that I am breaking is bringing out my queen early. Now, why are you not supposed to do this when you play chess? Because the queen is such a high value piece that when you bring it out early, your opponent can attack it very easily. And that is what is happening here. They are attacking my queen with their knight. Now I have to waste time moving my queen. So the question you're probably wondering is, Nelson, why did you do that? And the main reason, and I actually did this in a previous game as well, brought my queen out early. The main reason is to avoid theory, okay? I've been getting frustrated recently with walking into opponents who just know lots and lots of opening lines, right? You play a line that's they're very familiar with, and they just rattle off like 15 moves of theory. And I was trying to just like play some chess, right, where people don't know the theory. And so that's why I played this opening. And I tucked my queen over here. Now, the thing about the queen and bringing it out early is the queen is a very powerful piece. And if you're very, very careful, you can get away with bringing it out early, but you have to know exactly what you're doing, which is why for beginners, it is not recommended to bring out your queen early because most beginners don't know what they're doing and the queen ends up getting trapped or they have problems, okay? So, queen goes to e3. He played bishop to b4 check. Now, this is not the normal move. The normal move is knight f6, knight c3, and then you would pin my knight, which I knew. I wasn't sure about this, if I should play c3 or bishop d2. I decided to just play knight c3 because I was thinking it's going to just transpose into the other line. And I haven't looked at a lot of lines in the center game, so I was like, you know what? Let me just try to transpose it to one of the lines that I actually have looked at. So he attacked me, and I played bishop d2, and now we're back to the kind of the main line, I guess you could say, of the center game. He castles, and I castle queenside. Now, this is one thing that I do like about the center game. It's not the greatest opening. I mean, you can see black already has a slight advantage, but what I do like about it is that we get to castle on opposite sides of the board, and one of the ideas for white is to attack the king over here. And it's a pretty straightforward plan, and, you know, I was so frustrated with how this tournament was going. They're like, let me just play something, you know, that I can just have a simple plan and just see what happens. So that's kind of what my logic was. So black plays rook e8. That's a very good move, lining up on the pawn here. And it's also the main line. And I played the move queen g3, which is, again, this is kind of the main line. You can see it's a book move. And the first thing that you might notice is, wait a second, there's 2 attackers, only 1 defender, and there's a bishop there that could even remove that defender. Is this not just a free pawn? And the answer is yes, this is a free pawn. Now, black has to be careful about how they take it. If you take with the bishop and then you grab it with the knight thinking, hey, I got a fork, no, you actually got checkmated, okay? So that's not an option. But you don't actually need to take the knight because you already have 2 attackers, right? And there's actually 2 different ways. Both of these moves are good for black. You could take it either way. This is, it looks like you're giving up a rook, but the point is, if I take it, the knight actually comes in with a fork, and after I move my queen, this forces a big trade. And when the dust settles, queen, bishop, knight, rook, queen, bishop, knight, rook, and black just has an extra pawn. And I have no compensation or anything. So that's kind of the point of this rook takes e4 line. But my opponent captured it this way. Okay. I took the knight. There's not really anything else I can do. If I don't take it, the knight's going to just start taking all my stuff, and I'm going to have a bad position. So I took the knight, and they took with the rook. Okay, of course, they can't take the bishop because I would actually save my knight. Now I'm up a piece. I have 3 pieces against 2. So they captured here with the rook. Now, like I said, when you castle queenside against a king-sided opponent, the point is generally to like somehow try to attack. And when you're attacking, you don't want to trade too many pieces. So I decided to play the move c3 to, basically keep these pieces on the board, force this bishop to go somewhere. They played bishop f8. Engine wants bishop e7. This kind of looks a little bit more natural. You're not blocking your rook. You're trying to add a defender. But now the problem is I can play bishop d3. And even though the engine likes black's position, from a practical standpoint, black has to figure out a lot of things. Like, how are you going to defend your king here with my bishops and queen kind of lined up on it, right? This looks like a very scary position. The engine wants this move rook a4, which is, I mean, this is such a weird move to play. I don't think I would ever play that unless I like had studied theory or something and knew I was supposed to play that, because it just looks like, what is the rook even doing over there? I could, for one, just defend that. I could defend it. I could even just let you take it. It's not even like you're threatening much. I could probably just keep attacking. It's just such a weird move. Anyway, my opponent played more human-looking move, rook e8. But now I can play my knight out, and I decided to go to h3 instead of f3, primarily because I wanted to be able to play f4, because I thought this knight might be annoying going to e5. And if my knight is blocking this, I can't play f4, and then maybe at some point they're going to play knight e5. Now, you could say, well, the knight stops knight e5, so why don't you just go to f3? Which is a good point, but I don't know. I felt like this pawn, I felt like pushing this pawn forward was going to be a valuable asset to me. So that's why I chose here. Okay, at h3. They played g6. Now, the engine says it's a good move, but you have to understand, every time you push a pawn around your king, you create weaknesses, and you also potentially create hooks that maybe we can attack. So this is a risky move, but engine says it's fine. So g6. Okay, I played f4. Like I said, I take away the square from the knight, and I'm also thinking about going here and just maybe even sacrificing this bishop and, trying to checkmate this king. They played bishop g7, which is a pretty good move, and I played knight to g5. And again, like, following the plan. I'm bringing the pieces close to the king. I'm trying to attack it. They played the move d5, which is a great move. Black is doing good, and you can see the eval bar says everything is equal. And I continued with the attack, h4. Why not? I mean, I need to get the pawn here, trade it off so the rook can attack the king. And right here is where my opponent made a decision that was not the greatest. So what Stockfish says they needed to do, and this is not an easy move to play, but one of them would be bishop f5, which looks absolutely ridiculous. Like, why would you want to get doubled pawns and open up your king? Well, it turns out I don't actually have a good way to attack them. And yeah, I can attack this pawn. They just defend. I can attack it again. They just defend. And what am I going to do, right? Other thing, what if I go queen f3, trying to sneak in over here? They're just going to play h6. Now I have to leave. And somehow, black is actually totally fine. So this move, bishop f5, was a great move for black. Also, they could have started with h6 or queen f6, and black is doing okay. But they played the move d4. And the issue is they're trying to counterattack, but they don't really have their pieces set up for a counterattack. So it's not going to be very effective, right? Meanwhile, I have all of my pieces pretty much perfectly positioned to attack this king. So that is why Stockfish is saying, yeah, now is not the time to attack. Now is the time to defend. And if you can find some of these defensive moves, we're fine, but don't attack. That's basically what happened. So they start attacking. And after some thought, I decided, I don't even need to worry about this, because if I take this pawn, I'm opening up everything for my opponent. Now, all of a sudden, they do have an attack. And even though I have bishop c3, I didn't feel right about this. Yeah, apparently rook e3, wow, was a crazy move for black, which is really good. Look at that. That's wild. But I was like, I don't want to open everything up. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to ignore it. So I played h5. And Stockfish thought that was a good move. Okay. So my opponent plays knight e7, which it's getting a question mark, but it's actually one of the top engine moves. Well, it's sort of changing its mind. Now it's saying queen d5, but it did say knight e7. Yeah, now it's saying knight e7 again. So knight e7 is a fine move. He's trying to target these light squares and probably bring out the bishop to help defend the king. All right. In this position, I was considering sacrificing my knight, first of all, on one of these squares. For example, takes, and then something like this looked really good to me. Um, Also here, same kind of a deal, just opening up the king. This one's not as good. But then I was like, I don't even need to sacrifice to open this up. All I have to do is just take the pawn. All I have to do is take the pawn, and I'm going to open up the rook. Now, you might have noticed, those of you who are paying attention, it showed a little symbol on my king that said white wins. Why would it say that? Well, actually, in this position, my opponent totally shocked me and resigned. He just resigned the game. Now, I agree. My position is very good, and he messed up here with d4. But when he resigned, I was kind of like, wait, what? Inside, I was very confused. I thought, no, he's definitely going to play some more moves. But he actually did resign, and I won the game right here. Now, what would have happened if the game continued? Well, I think you have to take with the h pawn. If you take any other way, I'm going to be taking this for free anyway, and your position falls apart. So this is probably the only move. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't actually know what I was going to play against this. I knew that I wanted the h file open, but I was still kind of thinking, am I going with rook h2 and just leaving the rooks way back here and doubling up? Am I putting the queen here and trying to come down? It's not actually checkmate is the issue, right? For example, this is not checkmate. The king can just sit there. So I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to win the game. In fact, black is actually fine in this position. But yeah, there's other moves like rook h7 and then doubling up. Maybe we sacrifice this to get rid of the bishop. Maybe we get the queen in position first. Then we I felt like there was still a lot to think about. That's why I was surprised that he resigned. But yeah, Engine says it is winning, and rook h7 is the best way. Bishop c4 is another good move, getting on this diagonal. Queen h4 is another good move, threatening this. So yeah, basically that's what happened. I did finally get a win in the tournament, so I ended up with 2 out of 5. I don't want to blame all of my losses on the one game that I got tilted, but I really do feel like it affected me for the whole tournament. And that's, that's on me. That's something that I have to work on. I think some people have already commented that, and you're absolutely right? Like that's going to happen in chess. Like crazy stuff happens all the time, and you have to kind of be able to control your emotions and be able to kind of just stay focused on, let me find the best moves and play the best moves. And that's something that I struggle with. So I'll be, working on that going forward, I guess. And, I'll show you the game review of this game really quickly here before we, wrap it up. This was a good one. Finally, I had one decent game in the tournament. My opponent didn't play bad, actually. They just didn't understand the opening and played that one bad decision with d4. But other than that, they played a good game. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all the feedback, and I hope you learned something from these recaps. And I do have more tournaments coming up very soon. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys real soon.